Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Greg, your host to the Grilling to Get Away podcast. And today I'm here with my special guest, Matt Purchatzke from the Big Green Egg. And I'm excited to ask him some questions about the Big Green Egg and then also get some more information about his background and what he's doing. So, Matt, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Greg.
Yeah. So we got introduced kind of, I think, through social media, like LinkedIn initially.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
And then you were a guest at our barbecue competition last year as one of our judges.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome, man. And I think this podcast is really I really got a lot of questions about, the Big Green Egg, how you got involved, kind of your background and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's a topic we've talked about really, like ceramic grills or anything like that. So this will be awesome for our listeners. So why don't you just give us a little bit of background about who you are, what you're doing, and how you got involved with the Big Green Egg there.
All right. Well, absolutely. Again, thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm excited to be here. So as you said, Matt Purchatzke, I've been representing the Big Green Egg since 2017.
Okay.
I cover territory of central Wisconsin up into the UP of Michigan. So I like to say it's God's country. There's really no such thing as rush hour up there, and my dealer base is great. Started in 2017. I work for the distributor of Big Green Egg. Big Green Egg goes to market through distribution. So the company I work for is based out of Fargo, North Dakota.
Okay.
So I sell the Big Green Egg through that territory through independent dealers. Big Green Egg is not online. We're not in big box stores.
Yeah.
Simply go through brick and mortar independent dealers. So Ace Hardware is strong with our brand. We have some pool and spa stores. We do pretty well in the landscape world of that type of a dealer. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Been doing it. This will be hard to believe, but this will be my ninth summer of representing Big Green Egg, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah, that's great. So how did you get involved with them in the first place? Did you have like a background in?
No, not at all. And that actually is kind of one of the best things about it is, now I've been doing it for 9 years, and the only thing that separates me from anybody else is I've just done it for 9 years.
Okay.
So I don't have a barbecue background. I'm not a trained chef or anything like that. I just am a guy that lucked into an open sales position. That half of what we sell is the Big Green Egg, and the rest is history. It took me a few months to get hooked on it and passionate about it, and it's just been a fun ride ever since. But no, I just simply was in the market to relocate back up into central Wisconsin where I was born and raised, and there was an opening at Northern Plains Distributing, which is the distributor I work for, and one of the brands they happen to sell is the Big Green Egg.
Wow.
And since then it's consumed me.
Well, that's great. I mean, I think that's awesome to hear. Is I think a lot of times people think that they have to have a background, or be classically trained or have won a bunch of championships to be in the barbecue space. Obviously me and Ben, we just did it in the backyard for a long time, and then we felt like, hey, let's take a shot at this thing. But that's awesome that you have that story too, where it's just like it kind of fell into your lap, and then you learned as you went along there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love that the Big Green Egg isn't online or at a lot of these larger ones. It's kind of a niche product, I'd say. Maybe a higher end one too. Is that how you might describe it?
Yeah, that's how Big Green Egg looks at it. I mean, it's a premium brand, with premium quality, and that's the reason it has a lifetime warranty.
Sure.
I mean, it's I guess you could call it more of a high-end premium, and it's not for everyone's backyard if they don't need it. But it's, as far as outdoor cooking goes, it is the most versatile cooker on the market, and in my personal opinion, nothing even comes close to it.
Sure. So why don't you explain a little bit more for those that might not know, what a ceramic type of smoker grill is?
Sure. So the Big Green Egg it's called a Kamado style cooker, which is an ancient Japanese style of cooking. So the style and the device is 2,000 plus years old. Greg Fischer, who is the creator of Big Green Egg.
Me?
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, same name as me.
No, so the creator, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I saw
say, hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, right.
The creator of Big Green Egg, Ed Fischer. Ed Fischer.
Yeah.
He was in World War II stationed in Japan, and Kamado style cooking, ancient Japanese style of cooking. So while he was over there, he saw these Kamado style cookers, and at the time they were clay, and he would ship them back to Atlanta, Georgia, in containers, and he basically has spent his entire adult life perfecting it. So he transitioned it from clay into the high quality ceramics that we know it today. And it's, so basically it started just out of a back showroom, and Ed says one chicken wing at a time.
Yeah.
He would light the egg in front of his pachinko store. He sold pachinko machines and Big Green Eggs, and he would just cook chicken wings and give out samples. And to this day, that is one of the focuses of every dealer, is to do a demo and show the Big Green Egg, because most people have heard of it. A lot of people maybe haven't seen it or tasted food off it, and that is what seals the deal. I mean, we talk about a lot of fun things with the Big Green Egg as far as versatility, warranty, all that stuff, but at the end of the day, the food you cook off it is incredible.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that. I didn't know it was so Ed served in the military. Is that why? Yeah. I didn't know it was like a veteran-owned or veteran, started business. That's awesome. So, as you've kind of grown into the space, right? You said you didn't know too much about it. What's been one of the biggest takeaways that you've seen, just getting to know the grill and the company?
Sure. So the biggest takeaway for me on a personal level is just the ease of use of the device. I travel the state, and a lot of people are intimidated by it because it's big.
I'd say that, it's heavy.
It's big, it's heavy, and it gets hot. I mean, our larger Big Green Eggs will get over 1,000 degrees even in the dead of winter, and that can be intimidating. But the ease of use, 2 or 3 times of cooking on it, and you're set. It really is that simple, and just the passion that comes with it. I mean, the community of eggheads, it's what they're called. They're eggheads. It's flattering. It's not it's a term of endearment in the barbecue world, and eggheads are passionate. And to this day, I have not met an existing egg owner that regrets their purchase. It is, I'll do demos or events throughout the state, year round. And every time someone will come up and just start the conversation, like, I love mine. Yeah. I love it. This is what I do. And then that leads to getting out our cell phones and showing pictures of all the stuff you've cooked. If my wife is listening, I'm sorry, honey, but I have more pictures of cooks
of
and
meat
food and meat on my phone than I do my kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think you're alone there. I think a lot of people listening here probably are the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the things, like the questions I have regarding like the egg is, you've talked a little bit about it, but it seems like it's a heavy duty piece of equipment, and I think it makes sense that it has a lifetime warranty, right? So one question or one thing I have is, I've seen it looks like it's hard to refill like the charcoal, So like if I've got a Weber and I use my Webers and stuff, so I can just flip up the grates, and if I'm doing a long cook or whatever, I can throw some added coals in there or whatever. So when you're doing longer cooks on like a Kamado style there, that doesn't necessarily have like because you have to lift things up, don't you?
So it depends on how it's set up for cooking. If you have what we call a convector, which is a plate setter that goes in and that turns it from a regular charcoal grill into the versatility that brings smoking, roasting, and baking. So if you want to add charcoal, you do have to take the rack out and then that convector. But the best thing about the Big Green Egg is you don't need to add charcoal. Okay. They're so fuel efficient because of the high-end thermal properties of the ceramics. Yeah. You do not need to add charcoal. If I start with a full load, which is just filling the fire bowl that's inside, there's a couple pieces inside the grill. There's a fire bowl and a fire ring. And if you start with a full load on a large egg or an extra large egg, if you're smoking something at 250, you'll get 24 plus hours without having to refuel. So that again is a very common question, is how do I add fuel? And the answer is you don't, because there's nothing that you're cooking. You'd have to be doing like a frozen brisket to need 24 hours before you have to actually refuel. Now, if you're doing a long event and you're barbecuing and grilling, and after 3, 4, 5 hours at 400 or 500 degrees, you might have to throw some charcoal in. But again, that's just like you would a Weber. Just lift the cooking grate and dump a little bit more charcoal in. But as far as, and that's, you want to talk about truly set it and forget it. Yeah. That's the Big Green Egg. I do overnight cooks all the time. We have monitoring devices for temperature control if you want to use them. Sure. I have them. I use them on occasion. But most of the time, I just trust my egg. I've done it for so long. I just trust it and know that the temperature is going to hold unless something catastrophic happens.
Sure. I think that's a good point, too. Like, you got to kind of test it out a few times, and then once you get to know it, you know, you kind of know what you can do with it. So you have done overnight cooks with it, just using whatever, you know, meat probes or thermometers that you have. What's the longest cook you've done on it?
Well, it would just probably be your standard pork shoulder of, 15 to 18 hours. Nothing crazy. You know, I've done brisket and, whatever that is, 10, 12 hours, however long you want it. I mean, I've purposely reduced the temperature to time it to get done when I want it to. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun to put the meat on at night and go to bed and just wake up and like, hey, there it is. It's right where I left it. It's at the exact same temperature it was when I went to bed. And a few hours away from delicious. Yeah,
and no offense to like the pellet smokers, you don't have to worry about the power going out too.
No power.
So you got the charcoal or whatever wood you got in there, and it's going, and it's going to keep temp.
Yeah, there's no moving parts. There's nothing to fail. Like I previously said, it has to be something catastrophic for something to affect the outcome of the cook.
Yeah, that's great.
And again, that's why I'm not a professional barbecue guy. But when the food comes
trial
off,
and error,
it tastes like I am. But
there you
go.
There's no
difference between me. I say it all the time when I'm at events. I'm just a guy that does it a lot, and I'm just kind of a trained monkey at this point. Where I just put the food on, take it off.
There's a tagline for him: "Is I'm not a trained, chef, but it tastes like I am." Right?
Exactly.
There you go.
Yep.
No, that's great. So you work primarily here kind of in central Wisconsin. And like how big, like, when we talk about like our brand, like Burn Pit, like, we're trying to bring, Wisconsin barbecue out, put it on the map, so to speak, even though we have some great, other brands here in the state. How strong do you see like Wisconsin barbecue as you go throughout like Wisconsin here?
Sure. Yeah. It's definitely gotten more popular and more strong just as a whole, not necessarily the Big Green Egg business, but just outdoor grilling as a whole. COVID, helped that a lot, when people were staying home and not going out to restaurants and cooking at home and realizing that the lifestyle of a backyard barbecue can be pretty fun and delicious. We're not to the Texas barbecue level, right?
Not yet. Yeah.
But we're well on our way.
Yeah.
And again, it's just the industry in general is growing with just more people at home.
Yeah.
Wanting to stay home.
We have a lot of folks that we have a pretty decent blending of, people coming from the East Coast, from the Midwest, from, the South, coming up into here and then bringing their regional flavors here. And then we have an opportunity to use those as well as kind of create our own, based off of that inspiration that they bring. So,
right.
That's cool. I'm glad you get to see, other parts of the state and what they're doing. I'm always intrigued by, what's going on in different parts of especially our state.
Sure.
So if somebody's interested in buying and like, maybe they know their way around the grill or smoker, what's kind of your pitch to them? Let's say, hey, like give it a try.
So my main pitch with the Big Green Egg, it basically revolves around versatility. Buy it once and you're set for life. Truly on the Big Green Egg, you can grill, roast, smoke, bake, and sear all on one device. Low and slow at 200 degrees, or sear a tuna steak at up over 1,000 degrees, and everything in between. And another thing, especially for us in Wisconsin, is you can use it in the winter. It could be 30 below zero, and I can get a Big Green Egg over 1,000 degrees.
And it's still going to keep temp.
I actually think it performs a little bit better in the winter.
Okay.
It performs great year round, but by no means am I worried to go out and spark it.
Yeah.
I'm miserable and I don't necessarily like it. But
that's part of it, yeah. Right. The Midwest here, yeah.
Right. The Big Green Egg does not care. So that's it's a year round grill. And then as to what we already discussed is the fuel efficiency. Literally one bag of charcoal, our claim is we sell 17.5 pound bags of all natural lump charcoal.
Yeah.
That's what we use. So no briquettes, no lighter fluid, nothing that's petroleum based because it actually ruins the ceramics.
Okay.
Because ceramic is porous.
Yeah.
So that's moisture and scent and all that can absorb into the ceramic. And plus if you've ever read what's in a briquette.
We've done some research a little bit on that.
And then on top of that, you add lighter fluid, which is a petroleum-based product. I make the joke is you might as well cook on the tailpipe of your car.
Yeah, yeah.
And that again is also common objection is they're like, well, it's a charcoal and charcoal takes forever.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait 45 minutes to an hour for it to get to your temperature. And you're right. When you're using briquettes and lighter fluid, if you do it by the book or by their instructions, you have to wait for them to get 3/4 ashy, which is what burns off all that filler and petroleum-based product. So you're 45 minutes in before you're supposed to be putting food on. Yeah. Or with a Big Green Egg, with it being all natural lump charcoal, a large egg or an extra large egg, you can be up over 350, 400 degrees in 15 minutes.
Sure.
Here in Wisconsin, I say that one brandy old fashioned.
There you
light
go.
your egg, you have a brandy old fashioned, and by the time you're done with that, you're ready to roll.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. I did not know that. Like it just you're just supposed to use the lump charcoal there in the Big Green Egg or ceramics in general. So, what sizes do they come out? Because I know there's a few different sizes. So what are the sizes?
So Big Green Egg has 7 different sizes. We start out with a small, and then we start out with a mini, which is it's 10 inches. I mean it's small.
It's small.
We sell those to people in condos or patio, who cook on a patio and have restricted space.
Yeah.
Then there's a small and a mini max. Now the small and the mini max are actually the same cooking surface.
Okay.
They're 13 inches in diameter, but the mini max is the base is cut down a little bit to cut down on the weight because we use that one and we call that one our tailgater and our portable one.
Okay.
It comes with a handler. It still weighs 78 pounds.
It's still quite a load
so we
there.
use portable pretty loosely.
Yeah.
But it is portable.
Sure.
We sell a lot of those as someone's second egg. Because I don't want to say you become a barbecue snob, but you get to the point where you do notice the difference.
Okay.
And if you have a camper or if you have a cabin up north, they're like, well, we'll leave our large at home and we'll take our mini max on the road with us.
Yeah.
And we had a camper and I hauled our mini max in a storage bin in our travel trailer for years, and that no breaks, no cracks, nothing. Just because it's strong ceramic.
Yeah.
So we go from the mini max, small. Then there's a medium, a large, an extra large, and a 2XL.
Okay.
And the large is our most popular size. It's 18 1/4 cooking diameter, which is pretty typical to say a Weber kettle.
Yep.
So we sell more larges than anything, and then the extra large it will be next in line, and then the mini max is our third as far as overall.
You got a lot of different options folks that are looking for something.
Absolutely, the story behind them is all the same. The parts and the components are all identical. They all have the same warranty. They all perform the same way. The only difference is capacity.
Sure.
As you move up the line, obviously it's larger. And now some of those smaller ones too, you're not going to be getting your 20-hour cooks out of just simply because you don't have the capacity for enough charcoal.
Yeah.
So those are kind of, but you definitely got a mini max, for example. You probably get 10 to 12 hours. So there's certain things that you
still
can
a good
smoke.
cooker.
Absolutely. It just you won't be doing 10 racks of ribs in a mini max.
I think that's understandable.
Right.
So question then for you. With all this right now, all the concerns about tariffs and things like that, where are the eggs manufactured here?
So the Big Green Eggs, the ceramics. So corporate headquarters is Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
But the ceramics are kilned in Monterrey, Mexico.
Okay.
By a company called Del Tile. Where we don't hide it.
Yeah,
It's Del Tile.
Yeah.
Which they are predominantly known for as a higher end tile floor company. And they kiln our ceramics and they ship them from Mexico into Atlanta and then throughout the country to the distributors.
Yeah.
So tariffs is definitely something that is on our mind, but we have not had any directive or anything brought up as of yet.
Yeah,
So-
no, I was just curious, and we don't like to get into too much of that stuff here, but I was just because you got a nice big brand here. I'm always curious, and it's kind of maybe more from my personal knowledge and understanding of how the business is going, right?
No, but at this point, it's a valid question.
Yeah.
Just at this point, it's business as usual for us, and I think it might be a benefit to the fact that there's a 2-step process from Big Green Egg. So Big Green Egg has their own warehouse that is full.
Yeah.
My company has our warehouses that are also full.
Yeah.
So maybe the standard dealer on other brands might have 30 to 60 days of inventory.
Sure.
We have longer than
Right.
that. So I think that we're probably positioned nicely to maybe weather a short-term tariff issue.
That makes sense.
But again,
So who would you say, like I know you say it's kind of in the high end, like who would you say might be kind of your direct competitor in like the grill space?
so if you want to compare it, like if we're going to compare apples to apples, like in the Kamado world, Big Green Egg did, again, as we talked about, Big Green Egg did not invent and create the Kamado, but we've perfected it.
Sure.
And there's a couple other brands. There's some good ones. There's some not so good ones.
Yeah.
I would say Primo, the Primo brand is probably our closest competitor. And when I get a question constantly, like, well, what separates Big Green Egg from everybody else? And if you just want a one-word simple answer, it's our ceramics. The high-end ceramics that we use in the Big Green Egg is what separates Big Green Egg from our competition in the Kamado space.
Okay.
Others will use a lesser quality. A lot of the lesser priced ones use a fire clay, and it just doesn't have the lifespan of being able to get heated up, cooled down, heated up, cooled down. Some of the less expensive ones will actually even tell you not to use it in the rain because the temperature difference can affect the quality and the lifespan of the product, of what the grill is made out of. So Primo would probably be our number one in the Kamado space. As far as competition for the consumer's wallet.
Yeah, so like if you're thinking like your target market, like what are the other grills or smokers that they're looking at before like they decide maybe to come to you?
So pellet stoves, and obviously the biggest brand name out there is Traeger. And hey, to each their own.
Yeah.
The local rep that covers Traeger, Doug.
Yeah.
Like the guy, we get along, we text, we hang out, we hug when we see each other. So we can play. The sandbox is plenty big for all of us.
Yeah.
But I would say pellet is probably the most competition, and then obviously in the pellet world, there's a bunch of different brands.
Yeah.
And then griddles have come on strong in the last Blackstone and that sort of thing. That's come on strong. But and pizza.
The pizza ovens.
But I sit back and I'm like, well, you can have a griddle, you could have a smoker, you can have a pizza stove,
all on the same thing,
all on one. I mean, everything that those grills do or what they're good at, the Big Green Egg excels at.
Yeah,
and it's one device.
Yeah, that's interesting. So like as you look into the future here, kind of in the barbecue space, maybe the grill space too, any predictions that you have kind of going forward, like maybe this year going into next year, like any changes, major changes or shifts or new innovations that you see coming out here maybe in the next year?
So from the Big Green Egg standpoint?
Big Green Egg or just in general?
So Big Green Egg standpoint is, and that's kind of something that people talk like, well, what's new? What's new? And it's like, well, the Kamado grill is 2,000 years old. If you
much innovation, right?
There isn't a lot of innovation, but there's always, accessories and things to make life a little easier, a little bit more fun. So, Big Green Egg just kind of stays the path, stays the course, doesn't really get too high, doesn't really get too low. It's like we're the steady Eddie that is just it's just going to be there. And we have some new things coming out. A rotisserie is coming out this year.
All right.
We're adding to our existing pizza wedge offering.
Okay.
And then over the next couple of years, there's going to be some more tweaks and changes. I think we're going to focus more on Premier, being that higher end Premier brand. Not a lot that I can speak to on that, but there will be some subtle change of course with Big Green Egg. We have a new CEO that came in a year and a half ago, and the vision there is a little bit different. But I'm excited for it because I think it is going to focus more on who we are, getting back to basically family cooking on live fire. And as far as the industry as a whole, I'm not sure. There's been, the competition has come out with, there's new brands coming out all the time.
All the time, yep.
And I don't know if it was just they saw that the COVID peak or, the rush in 2021, 2022, 2023, where it was just like we talked about, people were staying home cooking on their grills. So there's some of these companies that were like, well, let's try this, let's do this. So in time, I think some of those will get weeded out. Yeah. And then the ones that were here strong before COVID will be here strong after. And I assure you, the Big Green Egg will be one of those.
Yeah. That sounds like it. It sounds like it's a company that's built on longevity and not just...
Well, we celebrated our 50th year anniversary last year. So 1974
awesome.
Is when, Big Green Egg brand was started in 50 years. So we're in year 51.
Yeah.
And again, that's when we're talking to a customer and I talk about a lifetime warranty. the strength of the brand matters.
Yeah,
what
it
good is
does.
a lifetime warranty if Big Green Egg is gone?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's awesome. Well, I want to switch gears because I know you recently started up a nonprofit,
Yep.
correct? Eggin for Heroes.
Yep.
So I'm intrigued by that because you helped us at our fundraising event last year, which is obviously raise money for veterans and veteran families here in the area. So what made you want to establish a new kind of nonprofit foundation?
So my wife and I have probably been doing things unofficially
Yeah.
for not necessarily for always veterans, but if we're doing a fundraiser for a family or really anything that I feel I could add value to, we've been doing that on an unofficial capacity for probably about two years or so.
Okay.
And then I realized that's truly become my passion. I mean, I love the Big Green Egg, but giving back
Yeah.
through and with the Big Green Egg has become my passion.
Okay.
And so I was like, let's just give this a go to do it on more of an official capacity. So, so others can help me help more people and kind of broaden the scope. So we officially signed up and are a 501c3 company as of December 24th.
Nice.
Actually, it's December 27th of 2024.
All right.
So
Congrats.
it's still, thank you.
Yeah.
So still very new, still learning it as I go, but that is also become the fun part.
Yeah.
I mean, I know with the resources of LinkedIn and all the experts out there, I know I could probably go meet with everybody and get told what to do, but part of it is I want to build it myself.
Yeah.
And mistakes will be made.
Yeah.
But we're having a lot of fun doing it, and partnering with veteran associations and organizations has been so fun up until now, and it's been a whirlwind. I mean, realistically, since January to now, I've met with and talked with dozens of organizations, and we have some events on the books coming up. And I knew that was going to be the easy part.
Yeah.
Because who wouldn't want some help?
Right.
Because when you talk these organizations who are doing events or taking veterans out on ice fishing trips, the food element is always kind of an obstacle for them. They're like, well, if we're going to take these veterans for the whole day, how are we going to coordinate lunch? I kind of feel like we fit a little
you fit a little need there.
A need, and it just takes it off of their plate
they can just focus on whatever activity or thing that
you guys go ice fish and freeze your butts off, and a kind of funny story is we just Ultimate Veteran Adventures. We've done 2 events with those guys now, and both of them have been ice fishing events. And the last one we did was up in the Land O'Lakes area.
Okay.
And it was cold,
Yeah.
windy, and we actually drove the egg Jeep and trailer out onto the ice.
Man.
Right, drove it right up to them. That Alex from Ultimate Adventures was augering holes right next to my Jeep.
Yeah.
And so we're out there with them, and they're doing their thing, and I'm cooking, and we're all
awesome.
interacting, and then we ate, and everyone had a great time. So it's just. Yeah, like I said, it's just become my passion. There's no better feeling. And I do get asked, like, well, why are you doing this? And why did you choose this? And it's selfishly, it just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I didn't serve in the military. I'm not, I'm not a first responder, but we rely on those people every day of our lives. And if I can give back a little bit and at least one meal, to me, it's kind of doing the best I can with what I have. So I've leveraged my love for Big Green Egg into the passion I have for giving back to those that help us.
Well, that's great. I think that's awesome. I've been following it, and I've been seeing you going out on some of those cooks. So you've been pretty busy, right? Right after you started and established, you had some events lined up. Any cool events you got coming up here soon?
So there's going to be, there's a couple events, with if you're familiar with, I'm sure obviously Alex Lonergan of the Frag Out podcast. Him and I have gotten to know each other again through social media. So I got a couple events going on with him that are more kind of like an invite-only type events. Where I don't want to say it's a private type thing, but it's educational stuff that he does with veterans, and I'll be there to do that.
Oh, nice.
And cook lunch or dinner for those events there. So again, it's kind of like, hey, let's learn, but also let's eat some great food. Operation Horses Heal is another organization that I've partnered with. They have their summer barbecue coming up at the end of May.
Okay.
So we'll be at that. In communications with HUA, the Wisconsin chapter, and then there's a couple other ones that in the Fox Valley that we'll be doing more smaller, focused. But there's a big one coming up, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but there's a larger one coming up where it's a car show, and it's to support the Alex's.
There was the Ultimate Veteran Adventures. Yeah.
So we're doing a car show, a barbecue competition, like a rib fest type thing, bands, that sort of thing. That's in the Fox Valley in Appleton in August. So that's, other than the Operations Horse's Heel event, that's probably the biggest one that we have on the books as far as open to the public. But a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the background that I'm working on, and it's growing. And it's going quickly,
that's good.
I love every minute of it.
So I'll make sure to post some of those links and things like in the show notes, so if people are interested, they can go find it. But like, as far as you, like, where can people go to find you, more about what you're doing with Eggin for Heroes or any other platforms or
absolutely.
things that you're on?
I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me with Matt Purchatzke on LinkedIn, or there's also an Eggin for Heroes, and that's EGGIN, the number 4. And then Heroes, but then I'm also on Facebook, both socials there. Working on TikTok and others. I've been on LinkedIn for quite a few years, and that was up until we went official.
Yeah,
that was my only platform.
Sure.
So now we're kind of broadening out to get a larger reach. So Facebook and there'll be TikTok and others, but for now it's LinkedIn and Facebook. And then we do have egginforheroes.org, which that is still under construction, the website, but there is a contact me page or link. So if you were interested, if you're an organization or you have an event or something that you want to just reach out and we can see if it's a fit. Egginforheroes.org has that contact me.
And do you stay primarily in the state of Wisconsin, or you travel a little bit?
For now it's a little bit more local, but
who knows?
I always say have eggs will travel. Right?
I got it.
I mean, I'll go wherever needed. And as long as it makes sense. Financially to go somewhere to do it, I'm open to everything.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, and I'll make sure to post those links and things so they can find you there. So as we wrap up this episode, I think this is awesome, very informative for people that might be thinking about like purchasing a Big Green Egg there. And if they are, can they reach out to you directly or?
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, otherwise, I am open. I've probably sold more eggs on LinkedIn across the country. Just because people will see what I post and they'll reach out, ask questions, and then they become my friends. It's awesome. I'm happy to answer any questions, even if you're not in my market. I don't care. A win for the brand is a win for all of us. So happy to do that. But otherwise, if you already are in the market and know you maybe want it and just want to kind of finalize that, if you go to biggreenegg.com, there's a dealer locator on there. And customers can even buy Big Green Egg packages on biggreenegg.com, but all of those orders get facilitated through a local dealer. So even if you went on and bought a package online, it's still getting funneled through your local closest dealer. So it's as close to a direct to consumer as we are. We do not cut out the middleman of the dealer, so they're always a part of it. But
that's good.
That's a place to start too.
Well, that's awesome. So as we wrap up this episode here, Matt, I always end with the same 3 questions to the guests that I have on, or the same question. If you could go back in time to when you first started barbecuing and grilling, what would be 3 pieces of equipment, assuming you already have your grill or your smoker, that you would recommend somebody that might be starting out purchase or get?
So I think the number one device that really separates anybody from being just a typical backyard guy to, wow, this tastes incredible, is a good meat thermometer. That is, if you cook to temperature instead of time, everything will taste better.
It's a great tip.
I mean, it's really that simple. So a meat thermometer would be my number one. A great grill, obviously. If you said you already have that, but that's kind of it. Everything else is just a personal choice for like convenience.
It was one thing that you like to have, going, like, you're going out to one of your Eggin for Heroes events and you're setting up, what is one item that you have to have with you?
So thermometer, and then with the Big Green Egg is a nice quick way to light it.
Okay.
So we have some, like any good grill company, we have some gadgets that
Yeah.
are pretty fun.
Okay.
Like we have a little torch that you
Yeah.
use to light it. So that's one of them. And then just some solid grill tools.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to beat a good set of tongs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It really is. And there are gadgets for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Rib racks and pans and things of that nature. But if you wanted just something core, like thermometer and some a good set of tongs.
Sure. No, well, I appreciate that, and I think that's awesome. Again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thanks for what you're doing with your nonprofit there. And if you want to find Matt, go below. I'll post it in the show notes here that you can find him, follow him, ask him questions if you got questions about the Big Green Egg. But Matt, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Coming to the basement studio here.
Yeah, it's a nice setup you got here.
Thanks, I appreciate that. All right, well, we'll talk to you guys next time. Cheers.